Okay, I'm coming to you today about Mark chapter 7. Because there are many out there, just like many of us, before we actually comprehended what the word actually meant. Some of us comprehended sooner than others, and some of us continue to believe what we only wanted to accept. Most scriptures that seems to be surrounded by food, about food, or relating to food some type of way. There are many out there who are believing that most of the scriptures that refer to food or mentions anything of food has to do with food. Most of the scriptures about food is it always um, stays in the range of the law of the Most High. That means whatever He said in the beginning, that's what it is continuously. What He says abomination is abomination. What He said is acceptable is acceptable. He does not turn his word is not does not turn void. So he does not turn on His word. Whatever that He made permanent, whatever that He said is. If a man is a man is a man. It's not going to allow and accept a man to be a woman. If a woman is a woman, and whatever the woman position is under the man, that's what it is, regardless, no matter modern day time or of anything that changed, no matter how much the food may have changed. This law, His commandments are still the same, and it still have the same effect on us spiritually and physically. So, many of us have been raised knowing the truth by people, whether the ones who taught us believed in the word and the Messiah or not. Whether they believed or not, who taught you, if they have taught you that the foods, there are distinctions between clean and unclean foods, and it still is today, they are correct, whether they believe or not in the Messiah. Okay, but it's up to you to take what's been taught and seek the Father out in His word to know what His word actually says. It's been pressed upon me years back to go to the word by an unbeliever, okay, a relative. But it was my duty to go and seek the matters out. And when I saw more than what I've been taught, that person did not believe any further than what they already taught me. But that's their choice, and it's your choice to follow what the word says. Don't worry about the abuse. The Most High seeks vengeance. You have to forgive. And don't let that turn you away, because the one who taught you, even if they taught you truth but abused you with it, abused you while teaching those things, don't let that interfere with your salvation and your favor with the Most High. Don't turn away because of that. Don't have resentment in your heart because of that. Don't make changes that is acceptable to the Most High, because whatever that you were, or whatever that you, however you were before then, or any of your ways that made you was you when you were with them. Don't change anything of you because of them. Okay, if it's acceptable to the Most High, according to the word, then let Him renew you, your mind, your heart, spirit, and you can be free. Okay, so there's misconception about certain scriptures surrounding food, but most times it's not even about food. And most of the time, anything about food is a parable. And if it is about food, it's distinguishing the difference between believers and unbelievers, and those who are weak-minded and strong-minded, and eating food according to the law. So I'm going to read one scripture right now that I'm basically pointing to at this time. There are many others, and people like to quote the ones of Peter, and especially the saying of the Most High made all things clean, and good, and all things clean, etc., etc., etc. People like to twist scriptures. I'm just kind of paraphrasing and quoting how people word things, and it don't be worded the way that the word actually says, and it doesn't mean exactly what they're saying, what they believe it means. So you have to read the whole thing from the whole chapter of that script, or verses before the script and after that scripture that the person believe on to be what they believe it is, to get the full concept. Hear the whole matter out before you assume what it is. Be slow to speak and quick to hear. Listen, and that's oral or reading it. You want to, before, clear your mind, not clear your mind, but have a sober mind. So, and pray to the Father to help guide you and show you what His word is saying. Put aside what you have already believed and let the Most High Ruach show you and reveal things to you. Declutter your mind of all the false doctrines, things that you think that you know is true, may not be what you thought. So, chapter 7, Marcus. Then came together unto him the Parashim and certain of the scribes, which came from Jerusalem. I'm stop right there. I'm reading the Sefer. It's the same scripture for those who don't know. Same thing, same wording as the King James and the other versions. It's the same, except for NIV, ESV, and some other newer versions that's way perverted. But the ones that are closer to what the older version of the word actually spoken of, this is the Sefer with the restored names. So, but the same word. Then came together unto him the Parashim and certain of the scribes, which came from Jerusalem. And when they saw some of his Talmudim eat bread with defiled, that is to say, with unwashen hands, they found fault. For the Parashim and all the Yehudim, except they wash their hands oft, eat not, holding the tradition of the elders. And when they come from the market, except they wash, they eat not. Many other things there be, which they have received to hold, as the washing of cups and pots, brazen vessels, and of tables. Then the Parashim and scribes asked him, Why walk not your Talmudim according to the tradition of the elders, but eat bread with unwashen hands? He answered and said unto them, Well has Yeshayahu prophesied of you hypocrites, as it is written, The people honors me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. Howbeit in vain do they worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. For laying aside the commandment of Yahuwah, you hold the tradition of men, as the washing of pots and cups, and many other such like things ye do. And he said unto them, Full well ye reject the commandment of Yahuwah, that ye may guard your own tradition. For Moshe said, Honor your father and mother, and whoso curses father or mother, let him die the death. But ye say, If a man shall say to his father or mother, It is carbon, that is to say, a gift, by whatsoever you might be profited by me, he shall be free. And ye suffer him no more to do aught for his father or his mother, making the word of Yahuwah of no effect through your tradition, which ye have delivered, and many such like things do ye. And when he had called all the people unto him, he said unto them, Hearken unto me, every one of you, and comprehend. There is nothing from without a man, that entering into him can defile him. But the things which come out of him, those are they that defile the man. If any man have ears to hear, let him hear. And when he was entered into the house from the people, his Talmudim asked him concerning the parable. And he said unto them, Are ye so without comprehending also? Do you not perceive that whatsoever thing from without enters into the man, it cannot defile him, because it enters not into his heart, but into the belly, and goes out into the draught, purging all food? And he said, That which come out of the man, that defiles the man. For from within, out of the heart of men, proceed evil thoughts, adulteries, fornication, murderers, thefts, covetousness, wickedness, deceit, lasciviousness, an evil eye, blasphemy, pride, foolishness. All these evil things come from within and defile the man. What I just read about what goes into a man is not what defiles him, but what comes out. That has nothing to do, in this topic, it's not referring to food at all. A couple of verses before that, actually in the very beginning of 7, it's very clear of the scenario of what happened. Came together unto him the Parashim and certain of the scribes. They came from Jerusalem. And when they saw some of his Talmudim eat bread with defiled, that is to say, unwashing hands, they found fault. See? They found fault in them, not keeping the what? Except they wash their hands while they eat, not holding the traditions of the elders. So this is talking about washing of hands. They're eating bread. This had nothing to do with meat, because in the Leviticus 11 and Deuteronomy 14 is very clear of what foods to be eating and what foods are abomination according to meat. Okay, we have food today that are defiled and have ingredients with meat, fat ingredients into it, but we referring to the scriptures of how they did their food back then. They followed the laws of the clean and unclean foods, but they're eating bread, and they're eating with unwashed hands. And that's just it. And it goes all the way, calling them out as hypocrites of they keep the tradition of men but not the commandment of the Most High. They will judge you unrighteously if you're not keeping the tradition of men. That's not the commandment of the Most High. So that's why you come to this about the hypocrites. They are going according to traditions of man, not the commandments of the Most High. Not about food. And if it was about food, he would have made that clear, very clear. And it still would have been about the same, just about, except the fact that we see clear in here is distinguishing. He's distinguishing the difference between the Most High, Yahuwah's word, and the customs of men. Two different things there. So, we know that if it had to do with all things, if unclean food been made all clean, okay, then this would have been a little bit different, because, how could he call them hypocrites? He's talking about tradition of man. So anyway, I just wanted to clear that up, and I hope that you share this with someone who may have misconception about anything. And not only that, it's so simple. All you have to do is read the whole chapter of a verse, or go a couple of verses back and a couple of verses forth to see the whole matter out. Hear the whole matter first before jumping to conclusion, because you can be wrong. Let the Most High Yahuwah word be true, and every man a liar. Shalom.